Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. As you guys can see up on the screen today, we're going to be talking about Cloud9. More specifically, we're going to be talking about Zven and taking a look at this clip this is from Travis Gafford's YouTube channel of the Cloud9 press conference after the mid-season showdown finals, the spring playoffs, the spring finals, whatever you want to call it, the LCS championship that Cloud9 just recently won, where, you know, the different media members, different esports journalists from websites, organizations, companies, all that stuff, just get to ask questions to all the different teams. You know, TSM had the press conference and they got knocked out. Team Liquid did one. Cloud9 did one. I think it overall is a really cool experience where a bunch of people from the media just get to ask some questions a little bit different than, you know, each of the individual media sessions and interviews, you know, maybe that we usually see. But I wanted to talk about one question that was asked in particular that we're going to be watching in today's video, where Zven is actually pretty critical of the LCS. And there's been a couple different things this season where people have been critical of the LCS for their scheduling, for the fact that NA is playing a patch behind everyone else, and just all these different things where I think the LCS, the production value's been shoddy the whole year, and they've had some very big oversights, and honestly, it overall has not been a great split for the LCS. So I wanted to talk about what Zven had to say, talk about that a little bit, and then hopefully talk about how the LCS can make things better and kind of clean it up for the future, because, you know, you can't keep doing stuff like this. But before we get into that, I just want to mention real quick, if you guys have not already, please take a second, smash that like button. I would appreciate it so much. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm. Also subscribe to stay up to date so you guys don't miss out on any of my content coming in the near future, because we have a ton of awesome videos coming your way. With that being said, let's get right into this. Again, this is a reporter. I believe it's Nick Shedder. I think it is, asking this question to Zven right after they won their you know, LCS championship. So let's see what the question is. Let's see what Zven has to say.
Hey, this is a question for Zven.
Hopefully you guys can hear.
So this finals probably had all the makings of like a really hype finals. The opening ceremony had a lot of production value. It was a 5-game series. You guys now get to go to MSI where you didn't last year. Did it feel lacking at all for you, someone who's been in plenty of finals on huge stages, without the audience there? Like, you just kind of look up after celebrating and you see this empty field?
No, I think it's a great question because obviously, since Corona has started and since COVID has been going on, people have been wondering this a lot. You know, Cloud9, they won their previous championship in 2020 inside their own facility, inside their own venue, and it was just kind of this really isolated thing. And then TSM did it in the summer split, and Doublelift talked about how for him, it didn't feel great. It felt very lackluster, winning that title in your own facility, winning that title in front of, yeah, you're happy to be with your team, and, you know, you've become friends with them over the course of the year, and you have all your staff in there, and you get to party, you get to celebrate, but it's not the same as winning it in an arena, on a stage, on the biggest stage that the LCS has to offer. And then obviously the crowd taking things, the hype to the next level, all your fans, even all your haters that you just got to silence right in front of you. You know, that just adds to the moment, adds to the memory. You get to go to an awesome, cool location and do something really amazing. And, you know, this is obviously somewhere in between. This is a little bit better than playing at your own facility or playing at your own house or your apartment or whatever, as some of the players were doing. But missing the fans is still, you know, a pretty big deal for a lot of people. So I think it's a great question, and I am curious to see what Zven has to say. Also, we'll make sure we drop a like on the video for Travis Gafford as well. He does an awesome job.
I mean, I didn't mind the empty field so much because it is what it is, right? But I think that the venue, the whole playing outside, having the sun in your eyes, the breeze once in a while, then game 4 and 5 was really cold, and the stage was shaking whenever someone was moving. I think it was a fun experiment, but if we had lost, I would be really tilted because I think the environment wasn't fit for competitive integrity or whatever. I think there was a lot of, like, I don't like when
So, obviously, he has, I messed up pausing the video a little bit there, but obviously, he has some pretty big allegations and stuff to say there, to say that this finals was not fit for competitive integrity. And obviously, he won, so like he's saying, he doesn't want to complain too much, you know, he's not going to, but they almost lost. Obviously, winning 3-2, this very easily could have gone the other way, and yeah, he would have been tilted, he would have been upset. You don't want to make excuses. The other team's playing under the same environment as well, but like he's saying, there are a lot of things that were going on where, yeah, I was wondering as well, like, I don't know if you guys saw, but pretty much they were outside, and they were playing in like a little box, but it was open facing. So, I mean, yes, they were covered up to an extent, but they were still exposed to the elements. They were still exposed to the outside. Also, the games had to be paused for a little while because there was partly sun coming into people's eyes, and then partly the sun was creating a glare on people's screens. And obviously, that would be something to be concerned about when you're playing outside. But also, like people were saying, the sun moves in the same ways every day. You know, it rises in the east, sets in the west. It follows the same trajectory to an extent, you know, pretty much in the exact same places all the time. So how was Riot not prepared for this? They knew the day before, the week before, however long they've known this, where the sun was going to be at different times during the day, how things were going to be facing, whether there was going to be a glare on the screen. Like, did they not try any of this stuff before? Did they not set this up beforehand? Did they not run any test runs? Did they not ask any players or have anybody try anything out? And then also with people saying that it was cold, and Zven talking about having to use hand warmers and stuff, and that being annoying, and the breeze coming in. Obviously, that is going to be something that's going on, you know, while you're outside, while you're exposed to the elements like that. And yeah, do you want like a big gust of wind coming in the middle of a big team fight, or you're trying to make a crazy play and you get like shivers or something? Like, that's crazy. That doesn't even make sense. And yes, the outdoor stadium looked really, really cool on the broadcast. It looked like beautiful. It did look really, really sick. But is it practical? Is it a competitive environment that's good for these players when there's so many different variables that Riot can't control? And like when you saw some of the things that were going on, like, yeah, they had to pause multiple times again for the sun, for glares. They were talking about how cold it is. Also talking about how the stage was shaking. You know, it just seems like whatever the LCS thought was going to happen in this finals, they did not plan it out very well. And at the very least, it seems like they skipped some steps in terms of preparation or testing, or like, how are the players and the teams and the organizations of the LCS not consulted at all with any of these decisions? Because it seems like we just see Vulcan and Perks on the screen right now, but they were agreeing and saying some of their own stuff with what Zven was saying here. I mean, Vulcan himself, he has transitioning glasses, which means like when you're out in the sun, they turn into sunglasses. So if you saw him on the broadcast, his glasses were actually like transitioning during the games. And obviously, I don't know about you guys, I've never really tried playing League of Legends with sunglasses on, but you know, the brightness of your screen is set up in a certain way, and if you were all of a sudden playing with sunglasses on, your brightness could change. And with how transition lenses work, if the sun's moving, you know, if you're there for 5-6 hours, this was a 5-game series, the sun could be in different places, you could be getting different brightnesses, his glasses could be changing on him throughout the day, which would then be making his screen easier and harder to see throughout the day. Like, that doesn't make sense. That should not be something that he has to kind of deal with. Again, them saying they were cold, they're saying the sun is their eyes. The LCS is already, League of Legends at the highest competitive level is already difficult enough as it is. It's already stressful, it's already crazy. This is the championship that these guys worked all year for. Like Zven said, this was not a competitively, not an environment that had a high level of competitive integrity in it. And yes, like he said, if he would have lost, he would have been tilted. But it's not fair. Just because they won, that doesn't mean it was right or it was fair or it was a good thing. Obviously, Zven saying it was a failure. I don't expect them to do anything like this again in the future. But should you really be experimenting with things like these in a spring finals? Should you be trying that out? Or should this have been an experiment? Like, sure, the idea is cool. The idea was fine. But test it out first with, you know, players just playing a game, playing a mock series, letting them scrim there or something, or trying something out. You have however many employees at Riot, they could go out there and be like, hey guys, it's kind of fucking cold. Or, hey guys, if we sit here for 6 hours, eventually the sun's going to be right in our eyes. Or, hey guys, you know, if the sun's here, I get a giant ass glare on my screen. I can't see anything. Like, how are you not trying these things out? Again, this is just one of the many, many, many mistakes that the LCS team has made throughout the season this year, and it's just not good enough. And it's really, Zven obviously seems a little bit frustrated. He's not too frustrated because they just won a championship, but they definitely could have been. And again, Team Liquid losing under these circumstances, it just sucks. It just sucks that you would allow, more variables into the equation that it already needs to be, especially for the finals, for an LCS title, for a trip to MSI, for something that these players worked all season long for. Just seems really, really weird. But Zven actually has a little bit more to say here as well.
I can't see the timers of the Dragon on the Baron in first 2 games because I can't see anything because there's a glare, or unlike that, everyone has to use 2 hand warmers on cooldown because their hands are cold in game 4 and 5. It just feels like this whole thing was a bit of a failed experiment, to be honest. But I think it was a good decision to not have any fans in the venue. So, yeah.
But yeah, like you said, in the end, yes, a failed experiment, sure, going for experiments, trying cool things, that's awesome, but I just think it could have been handled way, way better. I think it could have been experimented on, maybe not in the LCS finals, maybe not on a stage like this. Again, like you said, in games 1 and 2, if he really couldn't see timers on his screen, like, that's a huge issue. That is a huge, huge problem. If that's just what was happening to him, something else could have been happening to different players. And yes, there were pauses, but also they're not just going to keep, continuously pausing. I mean, they could, but, at some point, like, it is what it is. And the Team Liquid players were experiencing the same things. It was cold for them too. I'm sure they had whatever kind of glare or whatever sun in their eyes as well, but it's just really, really dumb. Overall, this is just a really, really stupid situation. I'm kind of glad that Zven was actually just vocal about what's going on. There's been a lot of people actually kind of speaking out against some of the stupid stuff the LCS has done this season. Perks, Bjergx, and Zven, different guys are saying stuff, and I love that they feel comfortable enough, and that there's not like repercussions against them and stuff for calling out some of the bad decisions that have been made this year. But it should be a huge wake-up call to the LCS team, to the commissioner of the league, to everyone involved that in Summer Split, things need to be better, and they need to get better faster. The schedule needs to be right. We need to be playing on the right patches. We need to have an environment that is just sound and makes sense for the competitive integrity of our event. If we're trying to host high-level League of Legends competition, broadcast, league, then it needs to be treated, accordingly, and the steps need to be put in place. And yes, if it takes some extra days of practice or preparation or experimentation, then those things need to be done. You don't need to be skipping steps. You don't need to be getting lazy, because, again, this is players' careers. This is organizations. This is hundreds of thousands of dollars, and potentially even millions when you add in just everything that's going on, and championships and MSI and fans and sales and everything and sponsorships. And you can't just be playing with this stuff. I don't know. I thought it was really, really dumb. But again, I was glad to hear that Zven did call it out. And I thought it was really, really interesting because it was my first thought. When I watched the LCS, I was like, oh, that's cool. But I was like, hold up. They're outside. What if it rains? What if it's cold? What if, that's instantly where my head went. And like, did nobody think that? I don't get it. It's really, really weird. LCS has been messing up. They need to get their act together, but really they needed to get their act together way before any of this as well. This is just kind of some more stuff on top of it. But that is pretty much it for this video today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate it so much. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about this whole situation? Do you think the finals are tainted in some way? Do you have an asterisk by it? Does it kind of ruin it a little bit for you? Do you not care since both teams were playing under the same circumstances? Or do you like the outside stadium? I don't know. Maybe some people like it. Maybe some people thought it was a cool idea. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, stay updated on the latest content. Hopefully I catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace!